Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Thursday, NBA playoff slate, and we got one game, Game 2, Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics in Boston. Game 1, man, we can break it all down. We will talk about it. Celtics eke out the W. We are presented by BetMGM, the King of Sportsbooks. Go download the Action Network app ASAP. Go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Go subscribe to my guy Jay's YouTube page. He's live daily, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go tap in there. And speaking of Jay, I'm with the regulars. AC, the Analytics capper, Albert Nguyen, and Jay Money is Money. We'll have 3 plays for you for this Game 2 Eastern Conference Finals. Speaking of, Jay Money, give me your best bet for the Thursday Game 2 in Boston.
I'll go with Pascal Siakam over 28.5 points plus rebound.
AC.
I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics all day. So first half -5 and full game -9.
We're going to touch it all, baby. I'm going first quarter Celtics -2.5. We'll break it all down. All right, fellas, let's set the table right now. Number is -9. That was right around where it was at in Game 1 as well. Nothing really changes. Total sits at 224.5. That has ticked up a bit with how wide open Game 1 was. All right, AC, I'm going to come to you first, and we'll talk the prop, and then we can talk a little first quarter as well. You're going right back to the Celtics after they looked shaky in Game 1. We all saw it. The Pacers flat out gave the game away. They had that game salted, done, and dusted, and somehow blew it coming down the stretch. AC, why do you feel confident going right back to the Celtics first half full game?
Yeah, if we take away that last minute of the game where the Pacers choked, basically, the Celtics got whatever they wanted. They got layups, they got jumpers, they got wide open threes. So I don't think they're going to make a big adjustment from an offensive standpoint. I think they're going to be able to score 120 plus easy. I think the big adjustment here, and I think I tweeted about this, Sean and I, we go about this all the time, is Boston's lack of intensity and focus and prioritization when it comes to their defense. So I'm looking for them to lock down a little better here in Game 2. That was a game where Indiana should have won, ended up not winning. So it's kind of a gift for Boston. That's the best case scenario where you should have lost and you ended up still winning. So you have that wake up call anyways. So I think Boston's going to come out and dominate. We know they're one of the best teams in the NBA when it comes to the second quarter specifically. I think they're second in terms of power rating. But I like them. Same with Sean. I like them always first quarter, first half, full game. But officially, it's going to be the first half because the Pacers, they were getting beat in that first half, but then made a run late in the second quarter to make that to cover that first half. So that's somewhat a bad beat for Boston. And then obviously we know at the end of the game, I just think Boston's going to run away with this one. And I like Boston a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get some comments from Jay Money. We know you stayed away from the games, and I don't lay double digits in the playoffs. And this is a perfect example why it gets very spooky very quickly. Any thoughts overall on Game 2, that mindset coming in? Because I'm with AC. This is a spot where you got woke up and you got the W.
Thanks.
That's how the Boston Celtics, that's how I feel like the Boston Celtics are going to be coming into this game, being able to make adjustments, and they're still up 1-0 in the column.
Yeah, you have to worry about the mindset for the Pacers, man. So as a basketball player, when you've had the game and you knew you should have won it, it's really hard to come back from that mentally, especially for a young team as well. Obviously, in the old days, a team could come back no, you know what? We know we have enough to win. But you look at the post-game interviews, guys like Tyrese Halliburton, these guys look absolutely defeated. They knew that they had that game in their hand with a few late, dumb turnovers as well. They're just showing that they're a young team there. I feel like they know that was their best chance to try to steal a game, to try to steal this series, to take a 1-0 lead on the road as well. And it was their best chance to kind of surprise the Celtics, right? We know the Celtics came out guns blazing, 12-0 run. And we know if the Pacers are going to try to run like a fast pace with the Celtics, that's not what you want to do. You'll get blown out of the water. Celtics start to play slow and play into the Pacers' hands there. So Jaylen Brown said it at the end of the game, they have to play with pace. I feel like their team total over might be a good look as well. They they have to play with pace versus the Pacers over there. That's when the Pacers are obviously at their worst defensively here. So I would lean towards the Celtics as well. It's still a few too many points for me to lay, but I definitely lean their way. And it would be more a bet against Indiana in their mindset coming into this game, knowing that they should be up 1-0 in this series. So it's really hard. We've seen teams all year it's really hard to come back down from that. So I like the way all of you guys are, both of you guys are looking on first quarter, first half, and full game.
Yeah, now if we're talking about, there's a conversation around, and I'll speak for myself about the Indiana Pacers overall as a team for me, I believe they got a lot of front runner in them. When shit's going well, everything is going good. They feel good. They chirp a lot. They get out, and that's when they're playing their best game. And then when things get tight, that's when, they become a little shaky. But this is not just me using my eyes and just trying to, I guess, a lot of people I had a couple people in my DM saying, yeah, you're just a salty guy that's covering the Knicks, so you're calling them front runners. And no, this is the numbers back this up. If we talk about the Indiana Pacers in clutch time in these playoffs, they play 5 games in clutch. That came down to clutch time. They're 2-3, and their net rating is minus 12.7. Defensive rating is 119.1 in the clutch this playoff. So when they're out and running and everything is good, like it was yesterday towards down the stretch of that game when Jayson Tatum didn't get a bucket the last 9:44 of the fourth quarter, everything was smooth. Everything was good. Then when things got tight, turnover here from Halliburton, kicks it out of bounds, turnover on a bad entry pass. Carlisle doesn't use his timeouts that he could have used to advance the rock. He talked about that in the postgame presser. So they have shown in situations when it gets spooky and tight, they have made a lot of mistakes, and that could be their MO. They did it in the regular season as well. We'll see how they bounce back because that was a crushing blow. I will give them credit, though. If you go back and remember that game 2 of the Knicks series, that was where they had a couple calls go against them, kick balls, foul calls, whatever. They bounced back going home and got the W 2 in a row. And then, of course, we know what happened the rest of the series. Mm-hmm. But they're not in Indiana, though, for game 2. They're going to be right back in Boston Thursday night, and they're going to be right back to it with one day off. So I agree. So then we'll get into my first quarter cap. I agree with both what you guys are saying about mindset and just overall the mindset of the Celtics coming in like, whoa. I knew they were going to be quick. We knew the pace was going to be fast. I didn't know those dudes were going to be catching the ball, getting it out of the net, and advance passing every single time they got it out of the net, trying to push the fast break immediately on every possession. I think they even got a little comfortable, Jay and AC, that first couple minutes where they were blanking them, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
we getting ready to smash these boys." And then next thing you know, you looked up at the end of the first quarter, it was 34-31. But I think they're going to be coming in focused to start game 2, at least in the first quarter here, coming off. It's going to take some time for the Pacers to get assimilated back into that flow after blowing that game. We remember game 1 was 34-31 in the first quarter. I'm going to lay minus 2.5 in the first quarter in game 2. I think the Boston Celtics come out and they are now awake and know how the Indiana Pacers are going to try to attack them. Even if they knew how they were going to try to attack them coming in, I think they're even a little more privy as well. I thought something was interesting in that game 1 that TJ McConnell played and Obi Toppin played 7-14. That was a lot of minutes for the first quarter for those guys who were
killing.
Clearly the second unit and bench guys, right? So they got on the court early for them. So like I said, I actually even tweeted this out. I'm a lot more on edge because I was obviously rooting for the Knicks and I got a big ticket on the Celtics. I'm a lot more on edge when TJ McConnell's out there with the rock than Tyrese Halliburton for whatever reason. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's out there making things happen. And we talked about distribution and him having to deal with Derek White and Drew Holiday. He did have 10-plus assists. That went over his assist prop. He had a really good game in game 1. Let's see if he can put that together in back-to-back games in game 2. Last point here on the first quarter is we get a lot of the best minutes from the starters out of the Celtics as well. In game 1, Jaylen Brown played 11-plus minutes. Jayson Tatum played 10 minutes. So I know I'm going to get at least the top 2 boys. And Derek White played 9 minutes. I at least know I'm going to get the top 3 guys on the floor for 9 to 11 minutes in that game. I really like that spot as well. if the Pacers can come out slow and it sustains for a little longer than it did in game one, I like first quarter -2.5. That's what I'm going to play for the game. Any other thoughts? AC, I'll come to you. Any other thoughts on because we're kind of all over this, right? First quarter, first half, full game. Is this one of those things where if they come, the Celtics are going to come out like they have all year and put it on these dudes in the first half and it just rolls in the full game?
No, I like that first quarter look because Boston's just going to play the way Boston plays. Like they're superior in terms of talent. So I don't think they have to make a ton of offensive adjustments like I mentioned. I think another good look you're doing is you're fading the Pacers bench, right? They came in that first quarter in game one and really took it to the Celtics starters, right? Late in that second quarter. So they are the reason why Indiana came back there in the first quarter. Because you're right, when it was starter versus starter, Boston completely dominated. I do want to do like a quick 30-second diatribe on Jayson Tatum. I think a lot of people think I hate Jayson Tatum. I don't. I think I'm just super critical of him because I think I want him to be so much better. Like I want him to be the guy because I know he has the skill, the mindset, the body, the size, all of it, right? To be the best, one of the best players in the NBA. So I do want to give him props. Although he didn't score in the last 9.5 minutes of the fourth quarter and was choking in front of our eyes, he did have an awesome overtime. And he hit Jay's prop for him, right? When he's not scoring, he's definitely doing other things. He rebounded the ball really well. And he was playing basically a center sometimes on that defensive glass. So props to Jayson Tatum. I do want to give him his flowers.
I just want to say, I like that first quarter look, Sean. I might have to. I like that spot, especially getting it at 2.5 under that 3-point possession as well. We know that they should have covered the first quarter in the first. I believe the number closed at 3.5, and that was like a horrible beat for that one, man. But I expect them to come out early and often, locked in this one. And like you say, if the Stars are going to play 10, 11 minutes, they definitely have an advantage. Now they've seen what the Pacers are going to bring. They know what McConnell, these guys are going to bring. There's not going to be a surprise, and that's why I feel like that was the biggest spot for the Pacers to kind of steal a game, like when you're surprising the Celtics as well. And another thing, they do have some older guys on the team. Horford, Drew Holiday as well, is where like you can kind of tell throughout the game, running fast pace throughout the whole game, you can kind of run out of gas. But at least for that first quarter, that's when you have top energy there. That's a really nice look there. If I was to choose one of them, the first quarter, first half, and full game, I would like the first quarter a lot more for the Celtics there.
Pascal Siakam only played 5:43 in the first quarter, so that bench off the bench, they did really make an impact. TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, and the boys. And hey, maybe they'll miss a couple fucking shots for us as well, and not just shoot 80% for 10 minutes straight in games. Yeah. So that could be a really good spot for the Boston Celtics to open up the game and just keep it pushing throughout the whole frame. Really quick thoughts, AC, on Tatum, because I agree. And if you go through all my recordings, wax, television, podcasts, tweets, I am very critical of Jayson Tatum because I agree with a lot of what you said. This guy has every reason to be the man and to take charge. And it just seems like over and over again in really big spots, he kind of fades. And it's not even like, hey, he didn't get a bucket the last 9.5 in the fourth. He's not even really a part of shit that's going on. You understand what I'm saying? He is just floating around out there. In overtime, he did bounce back and do his thing. Thank God for Jaylen Brown knocking down that jumper, or else we're having a completely different conversation. This is about another fourth quarter where a team applied pressure and Jayson Tatum was nowhere to be found coming down the stretch. And when he was around to be found, he was taking fall away, mid-range long twos. So, yeah, I mean, it's just about being critical. And when you talk about the face of the league and all that, and his name is coming up and potentially MVP coming, no, sir. Until that stuff starts to be very consistent and he's the most valuable dude on the floor to close games, that's when those conversations can actually become real. J Money, any thoughts on Tatum before we get out of here?
No thoughts on Tatum. I want to get into my prop here, but I just want to say, like, I was at the casino last night, and like everybody's hating on the Celtics. They think they're so trash. Obviously, they shoot a ton of threes. Everybody's hating on Tatum. They're on Pacers money line, everything. I just thought it was so. I just thought it was so funny. I just wanted to say, like, whenever you're, even if you want to take like the money line sprinkle or some stuff, like I'll always tell people, man, take the points. It's insurance. Even if you want to, like, if you feel like a team is going to win, they're 10-point underdogs. Like, you could put double the money on plus, like whatever you're going to put on the money line on the plus 10. Like, you have insurance. And so I just thought that was kind of crazy that everyone was rooting for the Pacers to win last night. They almost kind of like jinxed the Pacers. Like, I went to 3 different sports books, and the guys like that work behind the counter, like, yeah, I'm on Pacers money line, and they're about to win this shit. And before you know it, it's a tie game. And then now it goes to overtime. So I just thought that was pretty crazy. And there's a lot of Laker fans as well that just root against the Celtics just because they hate the Celtics. So I just think that's pretty funny, and I really think that might be like good karma for the Celtics. And I think we really saw that last night. But like, just real quick on Tatum, I mean, obviously we could talk shit about him. He shouldn't be taking those fadeaway twos. I'll tell you that. I do think that he is a great player. He's a great all around player, and he's putting up some great numbers in the playoffs as well. I don't think that's something that people are talking about. Obviously, he has bad games, but it's definitely a little different as well, where he doesn't really get a chance to cook. Like, he doesn't have the ball in his hands a ton like Anthony Edwards or Luka Doncic. You still have Jaylen Brown, you still have Derek White, you still have Drew Holiday that are taking shots away from him. So if we saw Jayson Tatum on a team where it was just him, I do think you'd see a little bit different guy, just where he would be able to have like the keys to the car to be unleashed literally the whole game, where you don't have like the shots for the Celtics are spread around versus everybody. See what I'm saying? So I do think Tatum takes a lot of heat. But if the Celtics do get out of the series, they do win the championship, I do think a lot of that will be silenced, and I think that's really fueling the guys. But for my play for this game, it's nothing super heavy for me, but I do like this spot, Pascal Siakam, and mainly because without Porzingis down there, man, the Celtics don't have a ton of rim protection, and that's why they need to hit threes and guard the perimeter well, because if they let these guys get into the basket, get inside the paint, that's where they were absolutely smashing the Celtics. Tatum is not a 5. Like, he's really not even like a power forward, to be honest with you. Like, he can't check Siakam. I'm sorry, man. You got guys like Al Horford out there. No, stop it. I think Siakam might go for 30 points, even though they like I say, so like Halliburton, guys like McConnell, these are guys that the Celtics have to shut down. But Siakam getting down into the paint, hitting those turnaround shots, that's going to be there all game. That's going to be there all series. He's going to be able to get boards as well. He smashed this number in the first game, 24 points, 12 rebounds as well. It's good for 36. So I think Siakam, even if everybody else has a bad game, I just think he's an absolute matchup nightmare for the Celtics down low. The way he likes to hit that spin move, turnaround shot, that's going to be there literally all game, getting to the foul line, whether it's Tatum guarding him, Horford, Luke Cornett, whoever. These guys cannot check Siakam, but I think they have the advantage with guys like Derek White, Drew Holiday to shut down the perimeter guys for the Pacers. So even though the Celtics can still have a really great game, cover the first quarter, first half, and full game, even in a blowout, I still think Siakam is going to absolutely eat, and this is what they brought him over there for, and that he knows it as well. I think that he's going to be the most important player for the Pacers in this series. So I do like his over 28.5 points plus rebounds here.
Very well said. AC, any thoughts on Pascal?
Yeah, I think stylistically is really simple. Jay mentioned it. I think Indiana wants to go out in a fast break and run, right? They want to get buckets in transition, but in the playoffs, you still have to execute in the half-court setting. And in the half-court, that means is Pascal Siakam. Whether it's Drew Holiday, who's too little, Pascal's going to back him up and hit that turnaround fade. Whether it's Al Horford, who's too slow, he's just going to face up and shoot it because there's too much room. So Pascal, you saw it all in game one. He just hit basically free throw jumpers, 5 or 6 of them in a row because Boston didn't know how to defend that. So unless they start doubling him, I agree with Jay. I think he's going to get single coverage and easy buckets. And then plus the rebounds there is just easy. It's just icing on cake because he might hit 28.5 just points.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm telling you that he's probably outside of Nembhard from possession to possession, doing the little things on offense. He's the guy, Pascal Siakam, that can go get his own food at any time. He can walk to the refrigerator and grab out whatever he wants at any time. He doesn't need permission from Tyrese Halliburton. He doesn't have to be set up. None of that. He can get the ball down there on the block and go to work. And he did that all throughout the Knicks series, and he did that throughout Game 1 against the Boston Celtics. When we talk about usage, he led the Pacers in usage in Game 1. He His offensive rating in game one was 121.6. That led the team. He was sensational in game one. He was rebounding. He was doing everything that needed to be done, and he didn't turn the ball over. He was efficient. He was very good in game one and to close out that Knicks series. One thing to keep an eye on. Jay said this perfectly. Boston Celtics have the perimeter guys to lock and strap guys up. Pascal's going to be working down there on the block. He only took 2 3-point attempts in game one. The success that he was having was on the block down there in the paint, kind of doing whatever he wanted. There's the 3-point prop for Pascal Siakam to not hit a three is plus 104. The over 1 plus 3 is minus 132. I don't see him taking too many more attempts than 1 or 2, depending on, I guess how they want to attack them. But that could be a look as well to go with that Pascal Siakam points plus rebounds. All right, to wrap it up, to recap, J money is money. Pascal Siakam over 28.5 points plus rebounds. AC, the Analysts cappers on Celtics. First half -5 and full game -9. I am on the Celtics first quarter -2.5. For J money is money. For AC, the Analytics capper, I am your host, Sean Little. Go download the Action Network app. We are presented by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Go find your winner in there today. Until next time, let's get buckets, baby.